Dave.
Ian.
And hello, Jake. Welcome back.
Hello, Dave, Ian. Hi.
Friend of the show. Yeah.
Yeah. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
So Jake, we brought you back on the show because, first of all, you're a fantastic guest. We love seeing your face on the internet. Love following you on Twitter. And we wanted to talk about a bunch of stuff that you have going and that you've done over like this motorsports season, stuff you've driven. Yeah. So for anybody who's not familiar with you or Out Motorsports, give them the 411.
Oh boy, the elevator pitch. So hi. So I'm Jake. I am just some guy that lives in Washington, D.C., and I've been into cars since forever. And I started a group for LGBT car enthusiasts, 4 years ago now. And we've been really focused on the community part of all that and hosting events for people, getting people together. We're pumped about what next year is going to look like. So we've been doing a lot of community events and driving events in motorsport. I race an old BMW with the National Autosport Association. And then I also review new cars for Out Motorsports on top of all of this. So I've been driving a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, you have. And everybody needs to check out the YouTube channel because, I mean, we're talking everything from a video about your Spec 3 BMW to the new Escalade that I think just went up today or yesterday. That you had some passengers in the supercharged Escalade. That was fantastic.
Yeah, an Escalade V. That was very cool.
Yeah. Yes. There's a portion of the video that is my favorite where someone is filming you from the backseat as you're taking a 25 mile an hour exit ramp, Cloverleaf.
And we're like this.
Yeah. And Jake is just sending it. So I'm glad that was filmed in Mexico, where it's legal to do that kind of thing.
Right. Well, we never exceeded the speed limit because it turns out when you get an entire pole barn through a, off ramp, there's only so fast you can go. But I did that truck had like 6,000 miles on it or something. And I wore down the top half of the word Bridgestone on the tire sidewall.
Yes.
I have not told Cadillac this at the time of filming this podcast, but they put a big motor in it and they did nothing else to it, more or less. So we had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Something's gonna go when you strap how many horsepower to a giant
682.
Yeah.
It is a 9 pound per horsepower SUV. It's stupid fast.
That's crazy. And it weighs, what does it weigh? 6,000 pounds?
I think it's 6,200. I had the short one, not the ESV.
Oh, okay. And how many people did you have in it?
We put 7 people in it.
Yeah.
However many it's got seatbelts for. It was 2, 4, 7.
Yeah.
I was with a bunch of friends in Minneapolis, and they were the one couple was hosting a barbecue, and everyone was there. It was like, let's just give rides. So I think we probably gave 30 people a ride. Just like we found a route. It was like out and back. And the best part about that truck is that the exhaust in V mode is like just it dumps. And the people in the backyard, we were like a quarter mile from the on-ramp at their house. The people in the backyard could hear me going down the on-ramp every time I did it. It's so silly.
I love it.
Yeah. It's a fun bus, right? Like, I mean, yeah.
Oh, hilarious. Just absolute hilarity every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it that it's 6,200 pounds, but then you also have like 800 pounds of meat inside of it as well when you're doing these things.
Yeah.
Like that's
we added a lot more weight to it. It was full.
Yeah. Yeah. Cadillac should know what they're doing and just give you a full extra set of tires whenever you have a press motor like that.
And some air sickness bags for the back.
Well, yeah, that would have been helpful. The tires, I mean, I gave it back and they were fine, but I don't know. I think with them and maybe with some other brands, I've got enough of a reputation of like, I'm going to use the car. You send it to me. So ultimately I think that's what they want. I just always feel a little bad if I give it back like I did, but most people aren't going to do that. So I don't know. I guess it was worth it.
Well, I think you need to, you're new to this this part of the game of like testing the new cars. And so you need to get your pitch of like, I was doing science to see what the stiffness of the sidewall was on the stock tire. So I can make a recommendation to my readers to say, no, you need to upgrade the tire.
Well, I mean, I have talked to some PR reps about stuff like this, and the overwhelming response is you're using it the way it's designed to be used, whether it's something fun and sporty or something that's meant to go off-road or tow or whatever. And they're like, we'd rather you have it than someone who just like putts around wants it as a free rental car. Right.
Yeah.
I feel bad sometimes. Like I brought back an Outback Wilderness with a kind of curb rashed wheel from a rock off-roading it. Yeah. And I felt bad because I didn't notice it in the moment. It was like I washed it before I gave it back, and then I was like, "Oh God, what did I do?" But they're like, "Well, you used it." So, and I have a photo of it with like a foot in the air, like cockeyed, trying to get it over something. So, like, okay,
yeah,
we tried.
That's cool.
So let's dig into that a little bit more, because I think that one of the things that has been really interesting is that like you are putting these vehicles to use and like that manufacturer engagement on that. Like, who's been receptive, because Cadillac gave you a Blackwing for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was back in May.
Yeah.
When we did our first track cross of the year that we hosted. So I got approval for that car to just have it as a loan to review. And then when it got scheduled, the thing that people I think don't realize is there's like 2 fleet companies in the DC area that manage all these brands. So there's these 2 fabulous women that basically play Tetris with calendars and cars. So the Blackwing got scheduled, and they're like, do these dates work for you? And I didn't even look. I just said, I don't have anything else scheduled. Great. Send the car. Then I looked at my calendar. I was like, oh, I'm hosting an event at a racetrack that I've rented. That, like, I can do what I want with. So I emailed Cadillac back, and I was like, hey, and this was my first Cadillac loan. I was like, hey, you don't know me, but I have a racetrack. I can do this at lunch when no one else is on it. I have corner workers. I've got 2 ambulances. I've got insurance. Will you let me track the car?
Okay.
Like, this is what I do. And I have a race car. Like, I've got a decent track record. I promise to not do anything too dumb. And they were all for it. They said no burnouts, no drifting, just to like save the tires. Made a video that I'm proud of. It was super fun, and I gave people rides like throughout the weekend. Certain brands are okay with that. Certain brands are not.
Right.
So I appreciate the ones who are, and everyone's got reasons why they're not. I think a lot of times it's just liability, or they don't have the budget to put a bunch of sets of tires on something. Like whatever. I get it. But the ones who let me do it are very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the results are great. Like the video that you have of the Blackwing is fantastic. Like, yeah.
I mean, it was fun putting that together. And the way I always kind of frame it, because this is my true belief, not just me like trying to pitch myself, is like, I can drive the car like this on a racetrack where it's very safe to do so. And there's runoff, and the roads are, banked the way they should be and all this. Or I can drive it like this on public roads where the risk of people, deer, whatever, is way higher. Which would you prefer, all things equal?
Right.
Yeah.
And like, you'd be surprised, even when you put it that way, some people are like, no, you can't track it. But like, go ahead and go full nut job on a back road. We would love to see that. And I'm like, I disagree with that, but okay.
Right.
And I'll go do it. But yeah, back roads are way more dangerous than a racetrack.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would imagine that manufacturers are a lot more receptive to like when you want to make a towing video, right? Because it
everyone's into that. Because that's pretty easy it's pretty like low risk. And again, most people won't do it. And I have a big enough trailer that like puts it's a decent test for a lot of things. We had one little oopsie where I got sent a Lexus LX that was a pre-production car that had somehow missed the port installed trailer wiring. So Made it from DC half an hour away to where I keep my trailer, and I was going racing for the weekend. And I like put the hitch in the receiver, and I go to back up, and I crawl underneath it to look at like where the wiring plug is, because on those, you know, they're Land Cruiser cousins, and like they always tuck the wiring plug way up so you don't rip it off roading. I'm like, weird, it's not here, but this is a new generation. Like, it's got to be somewhere. And I'm like, there's no 7-pin plug here. And I look further up, and there's like 2 sets of wires with 2 plugs, like, you know, taped way up there. I'm like, oh, I know what happened. So I had to take the car home, get my Cayenne, and I used the Cayenne to go for the weekend. But other than that, that's been the only like towing mishap, and it wasn't even a mishap. Otherwise, I met finally in person one of the PR guys who used to be at Land Rover, who's now at Mercedes-Benz, and he sent me a Defender 90 last year. It's like the short guy.
Yeah.
They are rated for 7,700 pounds.
Okay.
For weight.
Okay.
But the wheelbase it's like a 100-inch wheelbase. Like they're super
Yeah, it's
short.
like the one that like looks chunky when you look at it. Like it's all
Yes.
the weird
like overall length is like a Miata plus 5 inches. Like they're really small.
yeah.
And he remembered me because of the towing I did. I put my trailer on the back of it, and the trailer from hitch to taillights is 27 feet long. It's huge. And it's under the weight limit. And the whole point of that video was like, just because you say it can doesn't mean you should do it necessarily. It doesn't mean it's safe. And it wasn't. It was terrifying.
I was going to say, did it start to drive you a bit? Like, was it just super sketchy?
Well, no, because I could tell it was going to go that way. Yeah, that was the color I had and everything.
Oh, okay.
Pangea green.
Great color. Yeah.
I got it up to like 45 miles an hour, and I could, like, that was all it was okay to do.
Oh, wow.
And I knew if I got it up to real highway speed, it was going to be very unfun.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the video, I took some pictures, and I went and parked it. But
back away slowly.
Yeah, but like, why not do it? You know, like if the brand says it can do X, I'm going to do X, because a lot of people aren't doing it. And I just have no interest in reciting a press release and being like, it was nice, because a lot of people do that.
Yeah. No, that's one thing that I really like about your videos, is that it's not just a recited press release. Like it's very, like, it's as things are happening, you have a great knack for expressing them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I still have to edit it together, but I did do a towing video with the F-150 Lightning a couple weeks ago. And that was true. It was like GoPro on a stick, like as we're doing the thing. And I haven't watched it, so it might be terrible, but I don't know. In the moment, it was fun.
Nice.
Very cool. Did you tow the race car with the Lightning?
I did. Yeah, I basically did a fake towing test for distance, and most of the same route as I would take to go from here to Summit Point, which is like 65 miles each way. So I had actually the photo down, the silver one.
Oh, okay.
I had a silver XLT long range. So it looked like that. And it was like 65 miles each way. I deviated from going to the racetrack because there's a same distance going a different direction at the end, where there's a fast charger to charge it back up. And I maybe could have made it home without doing that, but it would have been really iffy.
And that's about what most people are
day.
saying with towing, like that it's about that big of a hit. Like
I think right? the long range truck is rated for 320 miles, and I think towing my trailer, I could have done 120. So it's interesting though, because a lot of people, like Tyler Hoover, towed an open aluminum trailer with like a Model A on it, which should be super easy because like aerodynamically it's not much, weight wise it's somewhat light. And I think he had kind of the same range. And then Tommy and Roman from TFL Truck towed a camper that was like on all-terrain tires that was super tall. It was like 12 or 13 feet tall off the ground. And I think they had a worse time. And my trailer is about 10 feet tall total. So like the aerodynamic load on an EV is really a big thing. And I was just curious, like, would mine being shorter than what TFL pulled be a marked difference? And I think it was to a point, but I also think EV trucks aren't really there for towing yet. But like, it's all just kind of, it works if you don't have to go that far.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if like there's going to be an aftermarket for like fairings to go from the back of the truck to whatever it is you're towing, to like kind of smooth the air out so it doesn't like build up in the front of the trailer or whatever. I wonder if that would actually make a big difference.
Yeah, or if like the Lightning Expedition,
I don't know if it
should
would.
they ever make one, if that would do better because of like, a camper top, right?
Yeah.
Like how it moves the air. Yeah. I don't know. I think the biggest issue is like the battery density and how much energy you've got on board. And I'm going to say this like it's a fact, and then I'm not going to have a source, and I'm probably very wrong, but I read
just
something
summed up
at
our
one
show.
point.
Yeah.
right. I read something at some point that basically said the amount of energy on board an F-150 Lightning long range is the equivalent to having a 4-gallon gas tank in a gas-powered F-150.
Oh, interesting.
So when you think of other EVs that can go much farther, that can do, I mean, even the F-150 unloaded 300 something miles, that's great. They're very efficient for the tech they have in them, but like, how far could you tow my trailer on 4 gallons of gas?
Right.
Probably not that far. So like when you put it in that context, is it really that bad? Like, no, battery tech isn't where it needs to be for that kind of use. And all these batteries are super heavy anyway. So like, I think we're going to get there to where batteries are lighter, there's more density, and we've got more efficiency. And that'll be the game changer for trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would be so interested to see like what I love that they reuse the Lightning name, like the old Lightning, like this red one here, right? Like if you had like that same aerodynamic body on the new Lightning, like how much of a difference would that make? Yeah.
Yeah. Because everything is super optimized. You know?
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So speaking of your BMW, like talk to us about like your motorsports season. Like how have you done? What's been going on? Yeah, give us the rundown.
It's been good. So we wrapped up the season back in October. I came in 5th out of like 13 cars, 12 cars that we had running for the season.
Okay.
And some of that is just because, lack of attrition.
Sure.
Some people wrecked or didn't make it to every event, but this is my first full season with the car. They are stupid amounts of fun. They are E36 93 to 95 model year 325s. So they're the Vanos motor M50, and they are just my one friend John says this about Ford Crown Victorias when pushed for performance driving. Like he says, they're big dumb golden retrievers that just want to like roll over and make you happy. And these cars are the same way, where they're a little soft. They're not the fastest, but they're not slow, and they're not boring. But if something starts to go a little sideways, you overcook it, whatever, like it just wants to make you happy. So you can just like throw some counter steer into it and it's just fine. And I have had the best time driving it. It's so fun. That's
awesome. I watched your video, one of your videos on it, and it looked like just great racing and just super fun.
Yeah, it's the best part. So the purple BMW that I had, the M3, was another E36, but the class was power to weight based, and then you could kind of do whatever. So the cars were not necessarily equals, and it was very much like a race of credit cards more than anything. And going to a spec series, and I would probably feel the same way about a spec Miata, a spec E30, whatever. But going to a spec series, the racing, like you see in the video, is just tight because we do a standing starts. We come to a stop and have a 2x2 drag race, and then you're in a swarm of cars that are the same as yours, and you just have to not screw up as much as everyone else.
Yeah. So going to a spec series, going to like a strict spec series, was it humbling or was it a confidence boost as far as your driving skill? Because it kind of really shines a light on whether or not
Yeah.
your driving skill is up to snuff or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it was both. It was definitely validating because
okay.
I knew the chassis already from the purple car, and it was really validating to go out and like not be dead last and feel pretty comfortable driving it. The issue though is that I'm having to work on racecraft much more because
Oh,
I'm not physically faster than anyone else. I don't have more horsepower. I don't have, better aero or anything. So it's a lot more of a game of chess where I'm playing the strategy part of it. And, like there's one guy, he came up to me in October after the race, and I've known him all season. He's very nice, good driver. He goes, man, every time we're on the back straight, you just drag me. And I went back and watched my video, and like, he's not down on horsepower, but I think I have a better line in some spots. I carry momentum, and then I can get right up on his bumper. And it comes down to me winning the race in that corner and then having the aero advantage from tucking it behind him and getting the draft.
mm-hmm.
And like, that's how I get past him every time. It's not because I make more horsepower. I might have a 2 horsepower advantage on him, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
So it's a different kind of racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really interesting. Yeah, the idea of like traffic management and that sort of stuff. We talk about that all the time when we go karting. I really like going go-karting before I do a Lemons race or whatever, because it's like, oh, I got to remember how to manage traffic. And it's scaled. It's obviously way scaled down from being on a road.
Yeah, but
course.
it's the same idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I need to like plan. I know what he's going to do in 3 corners from now. So I know I got to put my car over here now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, don't do something now, wait for then.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. The patience part of it is always tricky. Especially when you like catch people at awkward parts in the lap. It's easy to get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's like anything else. It's like a muscle that you gotta work on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, it's a ton of fun. And it's funny because I'm, especially after this last year where we don't really touch and bump draft, but we draft heavily to get around each other because it's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a friend of mine who does marketing for Jordan Taylor, who races IMSA.
Yep.
And he's like, Jordan and I can go driving on the street, and Jordan will be staring at me driving 3 inches off someone's bumper, and like, it's just fine. And he's not worried. I do the same thing in traffic. And ever since my friend Paul said that, I'm like, oh my God, I have to scare everyone that rides with me because I'm okay being right off bumpers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever rides with me who's listening to this, I'm really sorry. I can back off.
Yeah. We did that at a press event one time. Dave was like, you are way too close.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were at a racetrack, and he was like, why are you so close? I was like, what are you talking about?
I believe my exact words were, Ian. but we've been doing the show so long. Ian knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Quick question: who did the paint job and the livery for your car? Because it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So the paint itself is a $500 job from Mako.
Yes.
Truly.
Okay. Yep.
There is a shop, the Mako in Winchester, Virginia. It's owned by a dad and son, and they will spray any color, race car quality, which is to say single stage.
Yeah.
Kind of thin, but it's like if you want to change the color on a car that's going to get bumped into stuff, $500. So the color is magenta off of a 70s Porsche 911, and my friend Scotty did all of the graphic design. He was in my college car club. He's a little older than me, and he's a full-time graphic designer, and he's done all of the Out Motorsports graphics. And all of our t-shirts, our logo, everything. And I came to him and I said, do you want to do a whole car? And he said, yes. And what you see on my car is the first draft.
That's awesome. It looks great.
He sent it to me. I'm like, this is it.
Quit digging, you hit gold, man.
Yeah, I was like, this is great. Like, send me the files. Let's do it.
Yeah. The
Looks
tack
really cool.
on the back and everything. It's perfect. Yeah.
I also really, I know it's part of the class or whatever, but I dig the one duct in the headlight thing. Like it's really cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to run it, but you're allowed to. We run the factory air box, so there's no cold air intake. This is the most cold air intake you'll ever get. But that, if you pop the hood, there's actually a piece of ducting that runs directly to the air box's little inlet to funnel all that air right in.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So what are you allowed to change on this? Just like brake pads and stuff?
No, I mean, it's like, this is the list of parts and this is what you can put on it. So we have a spec brake pad, a spec shock, spring, sway bar, wheel width, tire. I mean, everything. So
really
wheel
cool.
weight. Yeah, you can pick from a couple wheels, but the size and the weight have to be within a certain parameter. We run factory brake calipers. You're allowed to rebuild factory horsepower. There's a spec tune that I think really just raises the rev limiter a little bit.
Okay.
So they're really like the cars are not overstressed, so they're pretty durable. We run the limited slip diff off the winter package cars. It's a factory differential, so it's not some built like $4,000 rear end like my purple car had. So you can build one of these cars for 20 grand, including a donor. Like they're cheap.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for a race car, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And then what about tires?
They're fantastically affordable. The tires are a Toyo RR. They are a 245 40 17 on an 8-inch wheel. So it's not the grippiest tire, but I think it contributes to like the fun of it. Because I ran some BF Goodrich tires. I ran Hoosiers at a point on the purple car, and they were both like really, really good. And then the limits were really, really high. And then you would exceed them and you would like fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
Whereas these are more willing to slide and tell you that they're unhappy, and you just kind of work with it. So what's on the car here in the photo is the RR. That's our typical dry tire. And then we run the Toyo RA1 as a rain tire.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And you get like a full just one weekend out of a set of tires, or can you get
with your driving?
So great. One whole season of driving.
There we go. There we go.
It is stunning. I was told ahead of time they are as fast from when they are new until the cords are showing, and nobody was lying about that.
That's awesome.
I mean, maybe a second slower, but I truly, we all end up buying a set of 6 tires, and we rotate them like axle by axle every day, just to get even wear. So you have 2 backups, a whole season on them.
Nice.
Like, no
that's really
deal.
great.
Yeah.
That's how
amazing.
I've always like.
And
Whenever anyone's like, "Oh, this is like an affordable series or whatever," like, tell me what's the tire you're running.
The tires. A set of tires is probably, I don't know, $1,200, and they'll last you all year.
That's
and
great.
Then the brake pads, we run Hawk brake pads, and you use the fronts about twice as fast as the rears. The fronts will last you 3 to 4 weekends, and I got almost a whole season out of the rears.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the trick is, if you know of FCP Euro,
yes,
they have their lifetime replacement guarantee.
Yes.
And I mean, all of us do this, and like FCP knows of this and they approve it. You buy one set of brake pads per axle, and you have brake pads for life for $0.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Right?
Like, it's a cheap car to run.
Yeah. Hey,
that's really cool.
I think that there's a really interesting aspect of like mental thriftiness to it as well, right? So like this season was my first full season of autocross in my Abarth, right? And like I think that there's a bunch of stuff that like I think about managing, right? Like what do I want to do for next season? What do I, like all of these things, right? That like you manage event by event and at the event. This takes so much, like your Spec 3 setup takes so much of what you like might like all of the points that could change, like all of the variables, a bunch of variables out of the equation, and really just makes it like, this is what you do. You show up, you're safe, you race, right? Like, I mean,
yeah. And the best part is like with the old class I was in with the purple car, everybody would go home and think of, well, how can I change this? How can I tweak this to go a little faster? This car goes in the trailer. It sits in a parking lot for a month. And then I go hook up another truck and drag it to another racetrack and start it up and drive it again. I don't do a thing.
Right? That's a huge piece to like this hobby, I think, is like kind of working on minimizing like the mental anguish that you're potentially exposing yourself to, right? Like,
well, and some people want that, and that's where they thrive.
Right.
But like, I just want to do other stuff with my weekends and my nights, and like, it's just, I don't care about that. I want to drive.
I think Ian, you like to get in there, like more than I do.
I like to think about that stuff, but I like to think about it. I don't like to actually do any of it. Is the problem?
Oh, that's where I come in to turn the wrench and make the change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know as soon as I start turning the wrench, I'm making it way worse.
You're the idea man. Yeah. I like that.
So
yeah, there's a reason
me...
mine goes to a shop.
Yeah, exactly. That's where my car goes. But this would keep me from, hurting myself.
Yeah. It's like your fantasy F1 team just noodling. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really, so I took it to a friend's house 2 weekends ago, and we just to wash it because it doesn't get cleaned.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, end of season. He lives nearby. Let's go, and he races too. So like, let's clean the cars up. So we cleaned it, and we're talking while we're cleaning mine. And he's like, "So what are you going to do in the off season?" I'm like, "I don't know, brake pads." Like there's nothing to do to it. I'm out of brakes. I'm out of tires. I guess I'll put those on. Yeah, fluids.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Meanwhile, for just autocross, I'm tearing my car apart. Like the front end's coming off soon. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Nice.
Are you restricted on like driver comfort stuff? Like, do people run cool suits and all that sort of crazy?
You can have a cool suit. You just have a minimum weight for weight with driver at the end of a race, which is 28-25. So I'm kind of right there. I can run a cool shirt and be within the range and be happy about it. So I have one. I need to move the seat down because I bought this car built from a friend of mine, and he's shorter than me. So the seat right now, my head is like almost in the ceiling, which is not ideal. Yeah. So I just need to unbolt it and like drop it a couple inches. But you have some leeway with the interior.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
See, that's where I would tinker. It'd be like, I need a new dash layout. I'm going to get some data. I'm going to get a cool shirt. That sort of stuff.
Well, so you have to have a full dash. You cannot have anything that plugs into the OBD port. There's a lot of things you can't have because it could influence, it could in theory talk to the ECU and mess with your tune.
Interesting.
You can tinker in like, I made a nicer dash panel than you to hold my water temp gauge, but like that's what you can do.
Okay. All right.
Otherwise, it's like put the car away for the winter and we'll see you in the spring. That's all you can do to
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positive aspects to this for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I'm just enthralled with the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Spec racing is fun, and this class is really. I have a good friend of mine who's been almost single-handedly working on growing the series from just a small Mid-Atlantic series to nationwide, and people are building these cars all over because we've collectively, largely with Taylor's help, shown how fun they are for how low dollar. So it's exciting to watch it grow.
Yeah, that is a solid bang for your buck, like straight up racing series. Yeah,
it's great.
Cool.
I love it. Nice. So talk to us about some of the Out Motorsports track events, like road rallies. Give us the because you just wrapped up your last Rainbow Road track cross for the season, right?
Yeah, that was back in October. That was mid-month, I guess. And then we had our Pumpkin Spice Road Rally that was last weekend. So we wrapped everything up. We did 6 events this year. So we did four road rallies on the street that are more about like social elements and like have a fun drive on some back roads, and then we had the 2 track crosses at Summit Point. So everything was great. We had a lot of new people. I am by day in consulting, so I love data, and I love, what can I learn about all this? We had 182 different people come to one of our events this year, which was so fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of people came to 2 or more. We had some people that came to all of them.
Okay.
Which was cool. And we had a lot of corporate support, which people sent cars, they, donated things, they gave away prizes, they sent cash to help, bring people who couldn't afford it. So it was really cool. We had 10 people come this year who applied for what we call a scholarship program, where basically, you've always wanted to do this, you can't afford it. Okay, come, we've covered your entry fee and your hotel, which was worth like $600 a person. So Toyota and Mazda and Michelin made that happen, and I'm really pleased with that.
That's so
We're
great.
hoping to do more of that next year. It was the coolest, and I mean these are people who truly motorsport is one of those things. Even like thinking of autocross, it's like, oh, it's a $35 entry fee, sure, but you've got tires, brake pads, like any other wear items, gas, food, hotel if you're staying overnight. Like it all adds up even doing that. And to do what we're doing, entry fee and hotel is $600, gas and travel cost, food, wear on equipment, like it's $1,000 weekend easy. So if we can help cut that out and get you here, like don't make excuses. I'm tired of hearing them, just get here. So that was kind of the approach. And the fact that some OEMs and Michelin wanted to help do that was fantastic. A lot of these different support, sponsor groups have said, what can we do for next year already, which is very exciting. And then we gave away real prizes. We gave away 2 sets of Bridgestone tires, whatever you wanted, mounted and balanced.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, truly. Like for each of the track crosses, we do like this cheap car challenge element of it. For here's a budget, buy a Top Gear themed like terrible car on a theme. This year was family haulers, which was kind of broad, but we took everyone's best time and averaged them, and the top people in each class. Back in May, we just drew names out of a hat. In October, we put everyone in a Volvo 940 station wagon and said your single best lap wins the tires. But
yes,
it was the most hilarious thing. It was the slowest little car, but yeah, we gave away 2 sets of tires thanks to Bridgestone. So we're giving away real stuff. Hawk gave us a lot of discount codes for Hawk Bucks. Motul gave us $100 for every registered driver for each event to give away money for fluids. So there was with all of that, and then different companies supported with helmet loaners and dinners for everybody and all sorts of stuff. We gave away over $30,000 in prizes and dinners and event support.
Wow, so great.
Which was huge.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. Holy cow! That's
I
amazing.
am proud of that because it gave a lot of people opportunities they wouldn't have had.
Yeah. And there's no better feeling than spending the money of like a giant corporation who is happy to give it to you. Like it's the best.
Yeah, and the way a lot of these companies see it, like Mazda and Toyota both in particular, and I'll include Chevrolet because they gave us some money for all this too. The way they all see it in particular is like, we could spend money being in a pride parade and yay, we check that box on our corporate initiatives, or we could directly impact a group of 100 or something people in person to be there to do a driving event. Like there is a different level of engagement there.
Yeah.
And it's worth pulling some budget aside for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Have any of them talked about bringing cars out to have people drive at these events, or is that something that maybe you're going to try to do in the future?
That's really tough from a liability perspective.
For sure.
Yeah, I've tried. I'm maybe have a thread I can pull with one brand that like we talked about it in a serious nature already, and it might be able to happen, but I don't want to say too much. But Volvo supported our pumpkin spice rally. You can see on your screen, presented by Volvo. So they gave us some funding to help do like an end of year banquet, which was really appreciated. But they also, with these events, we split people into smaller groups, and we have like a lead car and a chase car for each of these drive groups. And they sent 4 electric C40 recharge crossovers for us to use as the group lead cars.
Oh, that's cool.
Which very cool. We had, 4 of them in matching Fjord Blue, and they were all, the wild thing to me is that our meeting point for this event was this hotel in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, which is like a lovely little town, but it's not, most people don't know where that is. It's outside Hershey. And I get there Friday, and there is an 18-wheeler, like car hauler, and they're unloading 4 cars off of it for me.
That's
which
awesome.
Is like that is something I never thought would happen. And they're just like, yeah, good. We'll pick them up Monday morning. Like,
that's really cool.
Have fun. So, and some of the Volvo marketing and PR people came, and they enjoyed the event and had a really good time. So that support was really cool.
That's great.
But, to show up and have an 18-wheeler full of cars that are just being unloaded from my event was really fun.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
My wife and I were watching the Rainbow Road wrap up earlier. And one thing that really stood out to me, like for anybody who doesn't kind of like still like may need a visual image for like what is going on at this event, like let me just take a screen cap. I have a screen cap of just the grid, like one camera pan of the grid, just to let folks know like the kind of amazing stuff that's out there, right? So like
it is,
right,
the most diverse cast of characters.
Right, we've got Kevin in his Mitsubishi IMEV, right?
Mm-hmm.
PT Cruiser, an Infiniti. What was that? The J30?
J30. Yeah, the 4-door 300ZX.
Yeah. Like,
and then if you look at the very back, the far back red car, 2 behind the Mini Cooper, is an Evo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You can't look at this group of cars.
There's some real hardware there, and then some really terrible $1,500 cars.
Yeah. Buick Roadmaster with wood paneling. Yeah. Like you can't see like this group and think, oh, no one's gonna have a good time. Like, yeah. This is amazing. Yeah. The Jaguar.
How did it go with how did the iMev do?
Better than I thought it might. Kevin was very like he just knew exactly what the car was and wasn't. The course on Saturday was a little more like handling focused versus Sunday. Sunday had longer straightaways and stuff. Sunday's more of a horsepower course. So Sunday he was just very outgunned because that car makes 70 horsepower or something.
Right.
But it was fine. He plugged it in at lunch and got a little bit of juice back in it, plugged it in overnight like it was no big deal. And he towed it there. So he didn't have to deal with getting it from Ohio at, 40 miles at a time or whatever.
No, everybody needs to watch the highlight reel. It's such a great video. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really captures like the spirit of the event, like the story that you told the last time you were on our show about how the track had prepared like pride themed elements and stuff like that when you got there. Like I told that to my wife and she was like, I got chills. Like she just was so like, it's just so great. And this is Summit Point, right? Yeah. How was the track? How was the environment? Like,
Oh, I mean, it's great. Like they really enjoy having us there because they know it's that kind of atmosphere, and everyone's just so happy to be there, having a great time. And we did 2 events with them this year. We're going to do 2 more there next year. And then, excuse me, we're looking at going elsewhere in the country next year too, because we want to make this like not an East Coast only thing. So, with all that, it's like I don't want to give up Summit because they've been so good to us, and they want us to be there because it brings other diverse groups in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's been good to be there with them, and we definitely want to keep that relationship going.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, and I'm sure it's the same with the OEMs too. And there's been a theme of you being like, hey, they interacted with us once and now they want to interact with us again. It's part of it is what you're doing, but also probably how you're doing it. Like, people just appreciate competence too, and like they can tell when something is well run. And it's more rare that an event is competently run than people think sometimes.
I guess. I mean, we heard that from the Volvo people, as far as we got a lot of positive feedback from Volvo last weekend on how that pumpkin spice event was run. And it was really, really flattering. And it's always great to hear. I don't run these in a bubble. I've got a team of volunteers that help. And we had a few of my friends, two in particular, who really were also like co-leads to make this happen. And the Volvo lead marketing gentleman made a point of telling each of the three of us how well run the event was, which was really sweet. And it also, like, to me, it just drove home the point that like I and these other two, Donnie and other Jake, we're just doing what we know how to do. But the fact that it is resonating and people feel like they're having a good time and they feel welcome and they want to come back and all that is awesome.
Yeah.
Like we want to do more of this. But the thing I told people at the banquet is that I'm just doing the stuff that I think is fun, that I know how to do, that I couldn't find when I was looking for a community for myself. So I'm just really glad that it's resonating with other people, because that's the best part.
It obviously is. Like, you don't have a fleet of cars this crazy without it landing with a bunch of folks. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's so great. Yeah. I wish we lived closer and could show up. Yeah. Excited to see what happens with events in other parts of the country, for sure.
We're working on something not close to you guys, but closer.
Nice.
So
nice.
It'll probably still be a flight, but if you can get near Chicago, it might work out for 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
Just FYI, I'm working on those dates right now.
Nice. Right on. Well, we also wanted to talk a bit about some cars that we've been able to drive, and one that we haven't, that you have been able to drive all three. And so, talking about the new Honda Civic Si, the new Acura Integra, and the new Hyundai Elantra N-Line, because it seems like these days, like, I'm a sedan boy, right? Like, I have my Lexus LS 460 and I love it. I'm a sedan boy, right? But it seems like sedans are hitting right now in a time when we really didn't kind of expect it. There's been good stuff. Like, I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think it's interesting. So on the sedan front, like, in general, when I was a kid, I think when all of us were kids, sedans were more the norm for like a family car.
Yeah.
And wagons. And then the minivan came around, and then, no one wants to be seen driving the thing their parents drove. So like, everything must change. So now we're in the age of the crossover, and they are all pretty good, and a lot of them are pretty boring blobs that people just drive. I'm in a loaner car from the Porsche dealer, which is a whole separate story, but I'm in a 2021 Honda CR-V, which is like an car.
Right.
Right. I don't get it. It is not targeted at me, but like, the CR-V is entirely competent. It is fine. It is unexciting. And that's all I have to say about it. Right. So to that end, with sedans, I think given the market preferences have shifted toward buying CRVs, the sedans that are around have to do something to be better. Whether that's being more luxurious in the case of luxury brands, like, you know, I drove a new Genesis G90 very briefly. Stunning car.
Yeah.
Driven some G80s. Like Genesis in general is like punching above their weight, and there's doing so many good things. But with the sportier variants of stuff, Civic Si, Integra, Elantra N, like they're putting everything into them and they're doing a good job. Everything is good. So, you know, I have preferences. If it was like my money on the line, I know how I would rank them. And a lot of it comes down more to styling and like what I want feature wise. If it was like, this is your only car, this is your daily sort of thing, but they're all fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and so we talked about this on the show before, but we kind of split our vote, right? So like if we drove the SI and the Integra kind of back to back, the SI like just wormed its way into my brain just immediately, and I was just like, this thing's fucking amazing. I love it. And
yeah,
I also like the Integra, but I would choose the SI. And I think Dave said he would choose the Integra.
Yes.
If it was his money over the SI.
And Victoria Scott was on the show, and she said I was wrong.
I listened to her. Yes, I listened to her her whole take on this because I was so intrigued by it, because she's also such a big Honda girl.
Yes.
I mean, the one you talk to when you want to talk all things Honda, right? But
right. So that's like another element to it.
Right.
But then you mentioned the Elantra N,
yes,
which you guys haven't driven, right?
No,
correct,
but very intrigued by.
Yes. Give us the take. Yeah.
Okay. So T on all of these is that they're fun. The Civic Si, like I drove the prior gen Civic Si and Type R, and they were great cars for not me. I didn't like how they looked. I thought they were kind of bathtubby. There's just a lot of things that didn't quite gel. And I drove the Civic Si first.
Okay.
And the steering feel is incredible.
Yeah.
It's a ton of car for the money.
Yeah.
It's, 27 or 28 grand MSRP for like everything, like in the orange paint, whatever, the summer tires. It's a very, very good value. Really, really great to drive. And then the Integra comes along, and I am such an apologist for the new Integra, because everyone is like, the entire internet seems very upset by it, that it's not just a DC2 Integra Type R that is new. And I'm like, that is not what Acura can make. They are also very clearly leaving room on the table for the Civic Type R drivetrain going in an Integra that will be a hotter version, which is fine. The one that's out is a current SI drivetrain. I like the hatchback body. The ELS audio system is phenomenal compared to the Bose. Bose is not bad in the Civic, but the ELS is way better. And I like the looks better. I would personally buy the Integra if it was like, this is your only car. It is more expensive than the Civic by like 7 or 8 grand. But for all the little things that you get, I would want them. But I think if you don't care, or if your budget doesn't fit that, the SI is equally phenomenal. Like, just whichever one you like more is both. They're both fine. They're both great.
It's one of those arguments too, where you hear someone make the thing that the opposite case to what you think, and you're like, oh no, that makes sense. Yeah, no, good. Good call.
But like, if you can't stomach 35 grand for a car, or you don't think that the upgrades and features are worth it, and it is slower than the Civic, it weighs more, so the power to weight versus the Civic Si is worse. Okay, buy the Civic, you're not missing out on much. Like, you don't get heated seats, whatever. So they're both good. When you add the Elantra N in there, the Elantra N is more dramatic than either of them, and I would say it's more a Civic Type R competitor than an SI competitor.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily pit them against each other. And I have not driven the Type R yet. They just did the media launch. I have first impressions from Stephen Ewing, who's did them for me, that drop next Tuesday morning. So like, share, comment, subscribe. But I have not driven it. But I just lost all my lights.
Oh no.
They're programmed to turn off. I have to figure out how to turn them back on because this is my bedtime. But we're staying.
It was a very dramatic moment when that happened.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're back. I have Philips Hue that I just got, which I think is fun, but it just does stuff. So that was stuff it did. Anyway, with the Elantra N, like it is cracked out. It is nuts. It is loud. If you saw the articles going around about that guy in California who like got pulled over and the police officer was like, this is clearly aftermarket. That exhaust in full sport whatever mode is very loud.
Okay.
Like I mean, it seems like it's just straight piped. So it is bonkers. It is fun. I drove this one, I don't know, 500 miles round trip to do the C8 Z06 launch. So it was a lot of highway driving. Pretty decent highway car. I'm not a fan of the looks. So if you were like, your money, what do you want? I would go with one of the Hondas, whether it was the SI or the Integra or the Type R. Like I have to drive the Type R and see how I feel. But the looks of this just don't do it for me. But again, I think this is going to be a better, it's similar to Genesis punching up. This is also punching up. And I think it's going to be price-wise, it's going to probably undercut the Type R and be similarly quick. And it's got a limited slip and adaptive suspension and all the chassis bracing and the exhaust. Like it's got all the stuff. So they're very, very good. The Hyundai N cars are phenomenal.
Man, I really, really need to drive one.
Yeah.
I still have not driven one.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I really like what you had to say about like if a sedan is going to exist or even be seen as a viable option in this market, it needs to do something really well. Like a lot of things.
Yeah, you can't have a beige blob of a sedan anymore and expect it to perform well and people to get excited about it. I think like even like Honda just dropped the new Accord this morning. And it's either going to be a 1.5 turbo or a hybrid. They're not doing a 2.0 turbo anymore. And I think we're going to see more of that for like the more average, whatever family sedans. Like, why are these not all hybrids? Why are they not all excellent on fuel economy?
Right.
Like either make it cracked out fast and performance or make it really, really good as like a wafty, high mileage highway cruiser.
Right.
Yeah. I think it looks really good.
That's exactly what they have to do.
Yeah.
This is going to age really well.
It is.
The new trend of like cleaner, more slab side, like it looked, I don't know. I'm really excited about the way that design is moving now. And because it felt like for a few years there, it was just like, like a transformer exploded,
Right. Like made it with a Makita drum.
Honda was not the only people that did all that, but they certainly liked it. I am much more a fan of this styling direction of everything being a little cleaner. I was thinking of a whole separate topic for a podcast earlier today, in just that 90% of cars made in the last 5 years are going to age like milk, styling wise. Yeah. They're all going to be overwrought, overdone, and just look terrible.
I think the thing that I have thought about with this, certainly this car, and then like a few other cars that have launched recently, is the S90, the Volvo S90 really, I think, started this. Like, it looked so good when it came out because it looked so clean and like so much simpler and more elegant than everything else that was kind of coming out at the time. And now everything is kind of moving that direction.
Yeah. Like,
so I will say, I think it's easy to go too far in the simple direction. And you look at the new Mercedes-Benz electric sedans, the EQE and the EQS.
Yeah.
They look like a magic mouse.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of melted bars of skull.
Right.
And it's the pursuit of aerodynamics. Yeah, like there's an EQS.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Do you have to
Like,
turn it upside
it's
down
the
to
Pursuit of
charge
Arrow.
something?
Thankfully not. There's a port on the side. But, it's like it's the Pursuit of Aerodynamics, but like, what about this says Mercedes-Benz to you?
Right.
Well, it's so funny too, because
no.
like the CLS from like whenever that first came out, like 2006 or 7 or whatever, is still one of like, I still see those and I'm like, this is one of the most beautiful large sedans I've ever seen,
Oh,
and then they got from that
they've
to
aged
this
so
somehow,
well.
and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because this is kind of the same formula as the CLS.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't work for me.
No.
And I know there are people who think that the EQE and the EQS are the most beautiful things ever made. And like, I'm not here to like shit all over Mercedes-Benz, but just little tweaks make something really work or really not.
And the proportions are just all fucked up on it. Like it looks off, right?
Right. And I try in my reviews, I specifically don't comment on styling because whatever I love, you're going to hate and vice versa. But there are absolutely certain vehicles where like they don't quite land. And I think for a lot of people, and I think some people just don't give a shit, which is fine. And then some people think they're beautiful, whatever. But I do think the way styling is trending with certain brands is working toward a more timeless design again, which I'm happy to see.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
We've gone pretty long. Do you want to do, what do you think we got a time for a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got time.
All right.
We have a license plate game for you, and we have a FMK car. So whatever you would like, or both.
Oh, I mean, I've got time for both, but let's start with the license plate game.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So this is one that Dave made.
Because I ride a silly little bird scooter around DC, and I see custom tags, and I think of this, and I'm like, all right, we have to play this again.
Yeah.
All right.
The ones that you've sent me are in the hopper. I'm just waiting for the theme to emerge.
Good.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I don't even remember what I've sent you, but I know I sent a couple.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yep.
So this is one that Dave put together. So we'll be working together. I haven't seen these yet either.
Now, this one was put together in advance of Halloween, and we ended up not using it. So this one is called Paranormal Drivers. So here we go.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, wow.
It was paranormal themed plate. So while you guys take that in, I can narrate if you'd like. Yeah. So we've got a maroonish, burgundy-ish Chevy Equinox up top. We've got a yellow Nissan Juke.
Speaking of timeless designs, just all three of them, right?
And I would argue, side note, the Nissan Juke has aged better than anyone thought it would.
Actually, I would agree with that. Yes.
And I'll go on record a million times over saying that I want a bagged Honda Cross Tour. I mean, I just like
and I love that journey for you.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you. Thank you, Jay. Yeah. Then lastly, we do have a Honda Cross Tour that I'm going to buy from this person and put airbags on. Yeah.
And it's like brown.
Yeah. Hey, Jake, you want to read the plates?
Sure. So we've got Kraken, Krakyn. We've got Vampire 7. And we've got, I'm going to butcher this, Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cthulhu. Yeah.
CTHULHU.
That is a great vanity plate. I'm gonna fully endorse. That's a great vanity plate. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So we've got a maroon-ish Chevy Equinox with the Illinois plate.
Yep. Got a bunch of stuff hanging from the rear view mirror.
Bunch of stuff. Yep.
Okay.
I'm in love with this Juke already.
I mean, if you're gonna get a Juke, just get it in bright yellow and fuck off into the day,
throw a wing on it.
I like lean into the weird.
Yeah, right.
Now, what is that what's the sticker? Do we know? Is it just like a snake or something?
I think it looks like a little dragon tail, maybe.
Okay.
Well, like a little turtle.
Yeah, there's a turtle, and then there's something else here, like a
like some wings or something.
Yeah. Not
This is
sure.
Colorado.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the cross tour.
The debadged cross tour.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. And a dirty windshield.
A debadged cross tour.
Uh-huh.
Jake, I don't know. I'm kind of stumped right now. Do you have any like initial thoughts, like anything jumping out at you?
I would say, however you pronounce, I don't know if there's a right way for Cthulhu or
Yeah.
Cthulhu or however you say it. I would put that on the juke.
Okay.
Something just occurred to me with the juke. Go back to the stickers.
Yeah, sure.
Are these all sea creatures on here? Could it be Kraken? Because that's a sea monster. Or am I?
Cthulhu is
way
also
overthinking?
of the sea. Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Hmm.
Not hinting, providing information.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick with the juke being what I said.
I think you're right. Okay.
I would put Kraken on the cross tour.
I was going to say the same thing. Kraken seems to go, I don't know why, but it seems to go with debadging for some reason. I'm into it.
Yeah, and just like a more generic, like Vampire 7 strikes me as like the fun mom with her Chevy Equinox that like thinks this is all very clever, but she's driving a red Chevy Equinox and like, I don't know.
Yeah, vampire.
So I think that's
Color
my
of blood.
final answer.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Here are the answers. Vampire 7, you got it. And then Cthulhu and Kraken.
Oh, we flipped those.
Flipped. Yep. So thank you, Jesse, for sending in Cthulhu. And thank you, Johnny, for sending in Vampire 7. And I had the luxury of seeing Kraken myself.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I think any day you see a yellow Nissan Juke is a decent day.
Yeah. Just touched by a little something special that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now
I will say I saw a juke the other day and I had the exact same thought because I had seen a Kicks the day before and I was like, good God, why? And then I used to make fun of the juke all the time and now it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't say the juke is good, but it's at least interesting.
Yeah, no, right? It looks better now than it did when it came out.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's enough generic blobs that the juke is at least something that stands out.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at how bananas looking a Toyota Camry is nowadays. Like, that doesn't look like the toaster from which it came, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so FMK cars, I have one of those ready for both of you as well. This one has a tie-in. Jake, are you a fan of any of the following television series? The Great British Bake Off, Taskmaster, and Repair Shop.
I have not seen the latter two. I have seen the Great British Bake Off, and I enjoy both competitions and cooking shows.
Okay. All right. So in this one, I'm going to give you a sedan, one of the sedans we talked about earlier, and you're going to have a twist for each of those sedans that is themed along that British television show. All right.
Wow.
Okay. So first up, we're going to go to familiar territory, the Great British Bake Off, which we're all familiar with, right? We've got Paul and Prue and Noel and Matt. And yes, here's the Great British Bake Off, and their cast will pop up here. So with the Great British Bake Off, you are paired with the Honda Civic Si. Okay? And anywhere that you drive your car, no matter what, you will have Paul Hollywood caliber pastries available at whatever destination you stop at. Some crazy
Mary. Oh, sorry.
some crazy gas station in the middle of nowhere, you can get a scone that would blow your mind. Okay?
Mhm.
That's the Honda Civic Si. All right. Next, Repair Shop. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, mainly because it is probably the most palate cleansing television show to ever exist. You need to get away from everything. It's fantastic. People bring
Okay.
stuff to this barn outside of Goodwood in the UK, right? And these insane experts restore anything from priceless paintings to clocks to furniture, anything like these. There's always a wonderful story, an heirloom, things like that, right?
Mhm.
With the Hyundai, right? Because I feel like the Hyundai is probably the more complicated of the cars that we're dealing with, right? If anything goes wrong with it, you have this team of repair shop experts at your disposal to repair it. There's incredibly mechanical individuals. Brenton, for one, huge motorsports enthusiast. On the show, you can see him wearing his watch has a Gulf livery on it. Yes.
Right.
So that and the Hyundai. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Then lastly, we have the Acura Integra and Ian's favorite show, Taskmaster. So Ian,
Now we're gonna need another. How much tape do we have? Because I want to go. I need probably an hour and a half tops to talk about Taskmaster.
briefly describe Taskmaster for anyone who doesn't know what it is.
You have 20 seconds.
It's five comedians get tasks, and then they all do the same tasks separately, and then they watch it back in the studio, and it's like a panel show when they're watching the tape back. But the tasks are like, how many baked beans does it take to get around this caravan? Like that sort of stuff. And they get like time limits, and it's funny.
Ian, with
Yeah.
with the Acura Integra, you're going to have the Taskmasters available straight through the nav system. Anytime you would like, they will issue you a task. You can partake in this game, and you will be compared to your fellow competitors with their Acura Integras, and you will get to have a jolly time competing and being. They make quite a bit of fun of the folks as well.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yes.
It's fairly mean for a British show. All these other shows are very gentle. This one's like pretty
Yes.
pretty pointed.
Yes.
Okay, I think I have my answer. Jake, what are you thinking?
I think I have mine as well. Is this my turn to share?
Yeah, go for it.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. So we're marrying the Civic because I am food motivated and give me all the pastries and all the cakes and everything.
Okay.
I would probably kill the Hyundai because I don't need people yelling at me through the infotainment.
That was the Acura.
I'm
Integra.
Oh, well then
Yeah.
we kill the Acura then. I do enough of personality management for my day job that we don't need more of that.
Yeah.
So then that leaves me with a little weekend fling with the Hyundai, it sounds like.
Yeah. And if anything goes wrong, you have the repair shop at your disposal. Yeah.
And a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. If your coffee mug in the car breaks, Kirsten here can fix it.
There you go. They can fix that.
Yeah. Yeah. Ian?
I will also marry the Civic because, first of all, I have never met a carb that I didn't like. And secondly, those seats, I love those seats in the SI. And I feel like they would also double because they're pretty tight. They would also double to let me know when I'm overdoing it with the pastries. Like if I'm doing too many destinations
Exactly.
pastries, it'll just tell me like, hey, dial it back a little bit. I think I would crush the Hyundai with the repair shop because I'm not very practical and getting free maintenance, that's not fun. And then I'm gonna do Taskmaster for a day
In your Acura Integra.
in my Teggy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. I think you have all made very good choices. Yeah.
You would marry the repair shop, right? And you would
I
just break
would.
stuff on purpose. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, I would. Oops. Scratch the paint.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna go get a soothing cup of tea and watch someone fix
Right.
my car. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. If you need a show to take you down a notch, yeah, watch Repair Shop. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yes,
Sounds good. My YouTube lately has been recommending somehow like late 70s Chevrolet dealer training videos, which is a very similar
What?
bring down before bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with more, I'm assuming sexual harassment.
No, just a lot of brown.
Brown
clothing,
yeah.
cars. Like it was a dark time.
Nice. Just through the cigarette haze. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're like, we have 13 engine options in this Silverado, and they all make 101 horsepower. Like,
Right.
it was bad. It's really bad.
I love that you stumbled across like the dealer training videos. That's so great. Like,
Well, and because I clicked on one out of morbid curiosity, now it just recommends all of them. So I've seen like every Pontiac Parisienne training video that they have produced on Laserdisc. Like,
That's really funny.
it's not good content. It's just fascinating.
I can't look away. Yeah.
No, exactly. I'm like pouring another glass of wine. Like, okay, I'm ready.
When I was like back in like the Kazaa like file sharing days, somehow I managed to find a CD of Kentucky Fried Chicken training MP3s from like the 1960s, and I still have them. But like, and I mean, like, it's the same thing. It's like, it's not good to listen to, but it sure is fascinating.
Didn't you once tell me too that you had like 40 gigs of auctions or something?
Oh yeah, 40 years of auction, the National Auctioneer Championships. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just another random MP3 find. I had the bandwidth and the hard drive space. I'm downloading it. Yeah. Yep. So
heady days. They were heady days.
Right.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Jake, tell the people where they can find you, what they should do to seek out you, Out Motorsports stuff. Give us the rundown.
Well, outmotorsports.com or like, share, comment, subscribe on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Out Motorsports. We're on Twitter until they run out of money, which could be
tomorrow,
2 days from now. So if they do, we're not there. But that's where we're at. And we're planning some events all around the country for 2023. So follow along, check the website. We'll be posting a schedule once we have it, which should be in a couple weeks from now, which, depending on when people listen, might be out already. So go check.
Nice.
But that's where you'll find us. You can find me on Instagram, but I would spell my last name, but no one will remember it. So go to Out Motorsports, you'll find me.
That sounds great.
I have to say, sign up for the Out Motorsports mailing list. You do monthly Zoom conferences about fun topics.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a monthly Zoom that is the best time. If you have ever wondered if other people were having a cocktail and talking about the Isuzu Axiom and the Kia Borrego, they are. It is once a month on the first Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we would love to have you join us.
Yes. So join Out Motorsports to get access to that. Become a member of their community, as I have, and you definitely need to check that out because it's great. Yes. So
it's fantastic.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea to do. I love some of the ideas. It's been like worst mechanical kind of situation, or like I think it was like worst financial like decision associated with a car. I can't remember. Yeah.
Oh, we've done those. We did one that was just like your best or worst U-Haul story because everyone's got one of those.
Yep.
We did 2-car solution was one of the more recent ones.
There we go.
With a budget imposed. So yeah, it's like whatever ideas people come up with, they send them to me and I put them in a list and I just pick them.
Nice.
And they're always a good time.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Chop it up with like-minded folks on the internet for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We're all, somehow we've gone down this rabbit hole together, and at this point we're all in it and we can't get out. So come chat.
Nice. Yeah. Ian, anything else? Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Everyone, send us a text, 720-515-1391.
Yeah.
You can leave us a voicemail or send us crazy license plate pictures. We're in all the places. You guys know the thing. Everybody, we love you. Thank you. Goodbye.